Hey, what's going on, everybody? Only one weirdo at home today. My name is Sam Slade, and I'm pretty sure I still have the best hair on YouTube. We'll see about that as the year goes on, I guess. We have such a special guest today. I wish I had done a better intro. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him from like everything. I don't even know where to start. Actor Jerry Miner's here with us. Woo! That's it. That's all I got, Jerry.
That was all applause. Okay.
That's all I got.
I like the shirt. I'm a Michigan fan, but I've been to Austin a couple times.
Really? Were you down here doing shows, or were you just hanging out?
No, there's some other people that I know down in Austin. I keep saying like I gotta come down there, but it doesn't seem like Austin wants me.
No. We want more of you, less alt-right stand-ups, more
Well,
Jerry Miners, less dudes backing Elon Musk starting his own city.
yeah, I'm not a follower of Joe Rogan, so I didn't follow him out to.
I know everybody who was here was going, okay, cool. So you'll feature a lot of Austin comics, right? And they're like, no, we'll just bring all of our friends down to town. And you're going, okay.
Just ruin the town. I liked Austin.
See,
Before.
that's why you get the big guests on, folks like Jerry Miner, who can say stuff that sometimes hometown guy can't.
I don't feel bad about that, but I predict in a couple of years, like everybody in Austin will be saying it, like, where did these carpetbaggers come from?
If only we knew. If only we knew of the great the stand-up exodus during the pandemic.
Hey, if only people. I mean, it's a simple thing of it's a tax thing that the reason that the big people are doing it, the people like Alex Jones and
Well, hey, Alex has always
Joe
been
Rogan.
here, Jerry. Alex's hometown.
It's true. That's true. He's from there. That's
Hey,
right.
did I just claim Alex Jones? I didn't
He
mean
did.
listen to me right now, Jerry Miner. I don't care how many credits you have to your name. It is an inside job.
I wouldn't be Jerry Miner. I'd be whoever's hosting the Daily Show right now.
Infowars.com right now. Jerry Miner here on Infowars.com.
You host the Daily Show, right? Is that what you do? You host the Daily Show? Okay.
That's right. Don't think we didn't see our community, brother. We did. Dude, he's out of his mind now. I loved it when he co-opted with Trump is where I got a little worried. I didn't realize we're going to run off the rails, but
Right.
You knew something was up, that Alex may not really be about the conspiracy stuff when he started going full pro-Trump like a crony. You're like, I don't know. I thought we were going to talk about chemtrails and like, stuff in the water, fluoride in the water, not gay frogs and Trump.
Well, it seems that phenomenon took a lot of weirdos and people with personality disorders, people who had a limited amount of friends, a lot of different, and I'm mixing a lot of different people, and I'm using pejoratives, and I probably shouldn't, because I think it did take a lot of lost kind of people, including some friends of mine, people that I know. And it's kind of not surprising that anybody that had any kind of alternative viewpoint, quote unquote, kind of like that appealed to them.
Yeah. I mean, I know, I remember when Alex first kind of got up and running, he was on cable access, and it was, it was so slow. We'd call in and prank call. We're like in ninth grade and 10th grade, and, smoke a joint, watch his 9/11 as an inside job stuff. And when you're 16, it's just fun, right? Like nobody's
Right.
getting hurt on the couch. But you get a little older and you see what he said about Sandy Hook and the way he flamed those fumes. And we're getting to a point where I'm glad the guy's not on YouTube anymore. I'm glad you can't just see him in passing somewhere, because so much of what we're dealing with right now is from the right trying to say that Joe Biden or people are stiffening their First Amendment rights, or they're shutting down their First Amendment rights. When I think you and I both agree, you can't run into a theater and scream something insane.
Yeah, or lie. I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you're lying, there should be some kind of,
Accountability, right?
accountability. Yeah, in the old days, if you were a snake oil salesman or some kind of prophet or whatever that came into the town, and you had something, and the people figured out that you were full of shit, they tar and feather you. They actually did that to people.
Yeah.
Run you out of town.
I mean, for
The,
real.
the crowd would turn against you.
Hey, I play Red Dead Redemption. I know how it works, Jerry.
Right?
No, but I always take it that remember all the characters Don Knotts would play on all the sitcoms, like the guy coming through town and
Right.
being like, yeah, it's a real fur. And then by the end of it, they're all kicking his ass down the road and it's on to the monsters, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I do think that kind of person, which is what Donald Trump was too, is an American um, phenomena. The snake oil salesman is something that you just I don't see that in any other culture. I don't see that there's something that's baked into our culture, and it goes on and on, and it turns into different things from Amway to
Anyway,
to, yeah, I'm not even going to mention, but to numerous religions and cults
we
and
know
things
which
like
ones you're
that.
talking about. I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
So not to like offend anybody, but
No,
it
please do.
seems like
That's
it's
the
a
point
part
of
of
the show. We went nuts
right,
during a pandemic because of Donald Trump. That's what we're doing here.
right? And I mean, we seem to be able to celebrate that now. Not that like autocratic, weird cult leaders don't happen in other cultures, but there's something to the grift part of it that we seem to like just not be able
The
to
the Rickles on Andy
resist.
Griffith show part, right? Like
Yeah.
not in other countries, the autocrat is somebody religious and he somehow has the backing of everyone. It's kind of more behind the scenes. This was all so fucking out in the open. You
A
know,
goofball with a stupid hat, like you're supposed to go like get out of here, but Americans somehow go, let me listen to what this guy's got to say.
well, and Tara and I know that my pandemic experience would have been much different had I not been living with a woman of color and us two in the same room every day, as opposed to, you and Craig did that song, Somebody's Fucking Your Wife.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The same scenario happened with me and my first wife, white lady from Baylor. That's how that went, Republican. So, anyways, pandemic with a woman of color was I watched that song again the other day, Jerry, and I stood up in my living room like JFK Jr. watching the funeral for his father. But with Tara,
Yeah.
she's a Native American woman. Her dad was legit an Indian chief. So, I got a lot of things pointed out to me, and I couldn't slide on just being like the cool Zach Morris guy that worked for Barack Obama. Like there was some shit we had to face and some shit we had to talk about. Even like me going to get a COVID test this morning at a little acting thing I'm doing. I have my card. And they're like, no.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been working a lot lately too, and now that I'm hearing about more breakthrough infections, and I got a little kid at home, I'm not worried about getting sick at this point. Now that I'm vaccinated, but I do appreciate how careful the productions are. Every production has a COVID testing.
No,
They
it's
test
awesome.
you out the crazy, out the wazoo.
It
And
really makes you wonder what
it's
Robert Pattinson was doing to get COVID when he was making that Batman movie. Like he must have just been making
well,
out with people.
he's in England for one thing.
Well, yeah.
It's just like they got some weird stuff going on there too, where they're like it's surging now, but then they just now are opening up. It's kind of weird. Um,
And Boris
yeah,
just went into quarantine again.
and he went into quarantine again after having it.
Yeah.
Weird. Um, yeah. I'm hearing a lot of stories of people going overseas and stuff too, and it's different. That there's people want to be vaccinated in other countries, but it's just not like it is here.
I think right, and we're seeing that. I mean, the discrepancy in some of these countries, and then here, where we have more vaccines than we know what to do with, we're offering baseball tickets and money and anything we can, and people are going, not get your chip.
Right.
It's bad, especially here in Texas. I mean, we're having numbers boom again solely because I just don't want to. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah.
I mean, my best friend called me the other day and it was, well, I got the dumb vaccine. And I'm like, Dude, on paper, you are Barack Obama up to not running for Senate. Why are you calling me acting like that? Like, what? I didn't do this. Don't put this on me. Uh, it's rough
Well,
out here, Jerry. Please, can I come stay?
it's a different kind of rough here. So, and actually, I've been since the pandemic started. I've been in North County, San Diego. My in-laws had a place down here, and they were stuck in Chicago, and so I found a rat in my barbecue grill because all the restaurants were closed in my neighborhood. The rats just went crazy. They just like, we
Outside
gotta
of
find
Austin, that's called dinner.
Yeah, so I came to San Diego, and me and my wife will come down here frequently, just to hang out. But I've been down here a year, and I don't want to go back. And I'm going
Really?
back to LA to work and stuff. But
Does it just sound
yeah,
miserable? Just the hustle and shit?
but yeah, just the hustle and for a while, there was no traffic, but now the traffic is back, and
Right.
um, it's cooler. It's so hot since the world is on fire right now. I'm by the beach.
Still, by the way.
It's still on fire, right?
Uh, well, you guys do is completely unrelated. You guys have my favorite up and coming baseball player out there, Tatis Jr. That guy is a lot of fun.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Otani, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, Otani
Oh, you
too
said-
in Anaheim, but I was talking about
Mhm.
San Diego.
Yeah, I'm kind of like right in the middle between both Orange County and.
I know, and then everybody back in Second City is going, "What? The Cubs and the White Sox are no good for Jerry Minor?"
No, well, I'm from Michigan, so I'm a Tiger fan anyway. So yeah, I grew up. I grew up with it. I've spent enough time in Chicago, listening to those people talk about the Cubs and the White Sox as if actually the Cubs as if it was the only baseball team
in
in
the
United
world.
States. Yeah, and then being in New York too, and the Yankees are the only team.
Hey, you were on SNL for one season, and you left Second City, which, by the way, I think, as a guy who romanticized Second City, from being a kid in Austin to all the way up to going to classes and then doing ETC stuff or whatever. Is that right? You were the only guy to be on the main stage of Detroit, Toronto, and Chicago?
No, it was for a while, but I think there was a couple of people after that. After that was like in
that goddamn Sam Richardson.
No, I don't think Sam Richardson went to Chicago.
No, he was in Chicago,
but
he was there when I got there.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay. But Toronto. So yeah, there's another friend of mine, Angela Shelton, who did all three, and I think there was somebody who actually may have done like even more because they did a Las Vegas for a while and they did a Cleveland.
Wow,
and
I remember that when
somebody who did all of those too.
I mean, you guys, just the whole Second City group that you were there at that time. It was an amazing. It had to be just the most fun ever.
Yeah, it's always like that. I think that we don't have a concept of like what it was like in the 60s and all the groups that came out of there, or even the 70s now, because that's a lot of those people are older, or we just kind of lose touch with the previous generations. But it's kind of always been that way of like just amazing talent just gone through there, and
Right. I'm sorry, Jerry. I didn't mean to
at that point in time, we're just friends.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, no.
Tell me about the good old days.
No, it was great. There's nothing like it. I'll never be able to reproduce that again. Just having fun, having so much fun at doing what you love and learning the craft of it. They used to tell us like, you enjoy this because you're not going to get this back, and I didn't appreciate it then. I was just like, I'm on my grind. I'm trying to get I'm trying to come up.
That.
Yeah, and I don't want to listen to you. I was like Ben Roethlisberger. I'm gonna break all your fucking records. I don't care what you have to say.
I'll be in the bathroom.
So now I do appreciate it, and it's not the same now. It's been sold to a bigger company. Time will tell what that's going to be like, but
and it's a lot. The vibe is so different already.
I'm sure it has to be. I mean, any time it's going to change ownership, the vibe is going to be different. But there seemed to be, before that, some trying to an attempt at continuity, an attempt at and they're still trying to do that. Obviously, they've reached out to a lot of the alumni and they're talking to people. But it's going to change. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
inevitable.
well, I mean, it's going to become a very different thing, I think. And is IO even still around? I know, I think Chicago closed, did it?
Yeah, no, it's not around as far as I know.
That breaks my heart. I mean, I was so intimidated to take classes over there after
Mhm.
Second City. They kind of build you up, and IO, you get thrown in, and you better be ready. And I think there's so many people here in Austin, the new comedy mecca of mediocrity, Jerry. That hi, I'm the Prit. Nice to meet you. But it was such a learning experience. And I tell Tara, I'm getting chills just talking about it, but it was so exciting. And you learn stuff that I think I learned more in everyday life than I obviously did with my acting career.
Mhm.
But just being in the moment, man, and just listening, right? It was an amazing experience.
So did you like grow up going to Esther's Follies and then like kind of get and that kind of like made you familiar with what the thing was like at Second City? Like get familiar with that kind of what you
Yeah,
call it.
I went to Esther
You know?
Falls a couple times as a kid,
Hmm.
but my dad would keep me up late as a little kid to watch SNL when it was new, and it was the cast, uh, like early '90s, right? So Farley, Sandler, Carvey, Nealon, all that stuff. But then it got very that was our thing,
Hmm.
and I probably romanticized that time with my dad a little too much, but I know it definitely impacted my sense of humor, like
Yeah.
in a big way. Be like, no, just do that. And then you get to Second City and people are like, they're not looking for a Farley. It didn't work for everybody. Like, don't show up acting like that. And you're like, oh,
That's everybody.
well,
Everybody had somebody that they loved and
right?
what they did, So I mean, yeah. Um, and that's what gets you into it. That's why these people are so great.
I mean, okay, for folks who don't know, and I know we've only got 10 more minutes. Can I convince you to come back sometime so we can get into deep stuff?
You can, yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, while I've got you here, I want to ask you something. You've co-hosted the Cult Awareness podcast, and we're not going to get into your background stuff because I could go, about another 5 hours on that, asking you questions. But I was talking to Tara the other day, and she'd be mad if I didn't ask you this. When it comes to the QAnon stuff and the Trump stuff,
Mhm.
and it, I love asking you this question because you have the comedy brain and the political mind, and you've seen, kind of the worst side of American religion uh, growing up. Uh, what is it going to take now that we know that Q was that kid in China on his laptop? Now that we have all these indictments coming down on Matt Gaetz and, may or may not be tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Uh, as an expert in the world of cults hosting a podcast, what is it going to take for the break off to happen? And Tara just looked at me and was like, "Oh, you're so sweet, babe. You think anything can make them not believe now?"
Mhm. Yeah, and I'll tell you this about my experience, and maybe this can inform people, because it's hard, and it took me a long time to realize this. So, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and I was disfellowshipped, which means I was kicked out, excommunicated or whatever when I was 19, 20 years old. And from that time on, Jehovah's Witnesses practice shunning. They don't call it that, but when you're disfellowshipped, you can't talk to your friends or your former friends or and even your relatives. So
And
at
like
that
your
time,
parents, you're
even your parents. Now, if you're a minor and you live in a house, um, a lot of times they will relax those rules and where they can talk to you, but they can't
right.
talk to you about certain things. But nobody else, none of your other friends will be able to talk to you. And then sometimes the parents, people take those rules as they see them. So some people, are really, dogmatic with the rules, like my mother was. Which my mother, when I was kicked out at 20 years old, I didn't talk to her ever again, pretty much, until she died a couple years ago. So, that that shunning, like some people take it farther than others. My mother took it to the furthest extent. But she was also a model Jehovah's Witness. She was doing what she thought was right. So, my mom was into everything like that. Every, I don't even, they didn't call them conspiracy theories back then, in the 70s. But wow, I remember her dragging me to go see Hal Lindsey's Late Great Planet Earth. That was just about the time that she was getting into the Jehovah's Witnesses, and so she was really searching for something and always falling for. I mean, every multi-level marketing scheme, we did it. From Amway, Shackley, I can't even
You name it.
Malaluga, you name it. We did all of them, and all of those things were really popular with Jehovah's Witnesses as they are with Mormons. Somehow they
Born again too.
born agains, well, the closed groups, and they tell you that when you go into it, like go to your church, go to your church, go to your church, because those are closed groups of people and they trust each other, and they'll
Get up
talk
there
about
and earn for me, Jerry.
it. And hey, we're going to be partners, and it all leads into it. When Jehovah's Witnesses will always talk about, well, give you more time to go out and witnessing. The Mormons talk about it being a part of their self-sustaining.
Right.
Each person lifted up by their bootstrap. Each group can grab onto something in their own culture and put in this. And then there's a part of the group itself that at the beginning of Jehovah's Witnesses, that a lot of the beginnings of multi-level marketing were theirs as they were in Mormons. Like they did, they had advertisements in their literature for Miracle Wheat and uh, Mormons, and sold magic underwear and stuff like that. So that stuff, like I was talking about the snake oil salesman uh, stuff, from early in the 20th, 19th century, 20th century, stuck around, and made permanent inroads in people still around today. But to make a long story short, my mom was really into that stuff, and all that stuff caused a rift between her and her son, to where she never spoke to her only son for never spoke to him for 20 years, which is ridiculous. And we never even had a conversation to be able to go like, hey, what do you believe? Why do you believe that? I had just gotten to the point now of figuring out what I went through to be able to try to even help my mom. But I was always like, yeah, she's just a lost cause. Those people are just a lost cause. There's no way you can convince them. And now that I've done a lot of research, talked to a lot of people that have been, former members of cults, it's not a lost cause. The biggest thing that you have is loved ones, is your family, because cults replace the family basically. Um, that's why so many people who don't have a solid support system fall into them. You have a mother and your father, you have a family, you have people who love you, you have a whole culture and people you associate with, and a language and all that stuff, and it makes you feel special. You belong to somebody, and people who might not have a hard time belonging to something, it appeals to them. So the biggest draw I think that can get people out of it is friends and family, and really being a true friend and family to people and spending the time with them. Um, you know, even if people are in it, even if people are in QAnon, and I've noticed this even with people that I know online, the more they keep some kind of connection to people who are outside of that group, the less dogmatic they are about it. They'll be able to see certain, the less you'll see them going to go storm the Capitol, But
Right.
the more they're isolated, the more they'll be able to be influenced to do stupid things.
Right.
So for anybody that has any friends and family in it, keep working them. Don't be, you know,
Don't just back off. Don't just
don't just
let it
back off.
slip off.
Don't be insulting. Don't be like, well, until you're ready to talk, I'm done with you. That's just never going to work, because it's going to draw them in more. Um, what helps is just keeping an open line of communication. Tell me, asking questions. Why do you believe that? Why is it that way? Um, Asking questions is the biggest threat to people like that, and the people that are keeping them in groups like that will tell them, yeah, don't answer their questions,
Right.
and that will sometimes trigger into people, some kind of cognitive dissonance, where they're like, well, why can't I ask
Right.
ask a
It's a
question?
survival thing. Right. Yeah.
So sometimes I can open up people, but yeah, just keeping keeping the communication lines open, I think is going to be the biggest thing to helping these people see the light. And even if they don't completely see it, at least they may not take some of the steps that they may have taken before if they're completely isolated.
Right. Right. Maybe we don't get the guy in the bear head behind Pelosi's desk, right?
Hey, I have a friend that was there,
Really?
and yeah, and it's almost like and he's on the lam now, from what I guess.
For real? You
Uh,
haven't heard from him?
yeah, he's an actor. I mean, it's kind of well known because the FBI put out I don't know what you call those things, a wanted
I had Gary. I have to say, I had no
a
idea
wanted
you were
tweet.
such good friends with James Woods.
Oh man, I wish we had the time of some story. I got some
All right.
James
Well,
Wood
you're
stories.
coming back, right? Well, this is a
I
great
will
place
come
to
back. Yeah,
bookend it. You'll come back in a few weeks.
yeah, and I'd love to talk about all this kind of stuff more because yeah, I could talk about it forever. But
Good
yeah,
deal, man. Jerry Minor, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, thanks so much. Thank you. This
thanks
has
a
been
lot,
so
man.
cool. I
I'm
feel like
sorry, Sam. I didn't have more time. I wish I did.
oh, dude, I sprung it on you. I know we had it set up and I saw you in Let's Go to Prison. I was like, yeah, what is he doing? And you're like, nothing in San Diego. I like it that way.
Oh, you caught me. I mean, I'm busy. I've been working a lot.
When are you not? You're always working a lot, Jerry Minor.
No, I wasn't. Nobody was for a while. So
Well, that's true.
I'm
That's
really
true.
happy that we're back in it.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, I'll shoot you an email when I click. Tara has informed me how to do the tech part. When I click off, I'll email you and we'll set it up for a few weeks from now. We've got a lot to unpack and it's going to be so much fun, man. I'm so stoked.
Let's do it.
Cool, man. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Thanks, Sam. I'll talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
dude. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Weirdos at home. That was fucking awesome.